Look,
If you had
one shot
one opportunity
to seize everything you ever wanted,
in one moment,
would you capture it?
or just let it slip?
Yo!
Yo! Hello and welcome to another episode of Chillin' with Dylan. I'm your host Dylan, and today we got a very special topic, and we got an amazing guest joining us once again to talk about this topic. Adam, thank you for coming on and just spontaneously doing that rap without any plan to do that, right, Adam? That was great.
Yeah, definitely didn't practice that before.
No
Thanks for
practice.
having me back on, Dylan.
It's a very special podcast today. It's been about a year since Chillin' with Dylan was started as a podcast. So obviously Adam was the first person who came on, and so we've just gone full circle for this topic that's, let's say, a more special one than usual. And this is very special because we're never going to do this topic again, I'd say.
Mm,
It's it's just one and done. We are talking about once in a lifetime opportunities today. Exciting, right?
wow. Yeah, very fitting for the rap.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Um, so yeah, you heard it here first. That's the first and last time you'll hear that rap from us. But yeah, um, to explain a little bit, our topic, we're just talking about things that maybe happen in life that sometimes we don't expect, but things that just don't come often, opportunities or events and things like that. Um, but yeah, what is a once in a lifetime opportunity? That's something maybe most of us haven't thought about too much, so I thought I'd just think about that a bit, Adam.
Yeah, well, I guess it's fairly self-explanatory in the name, but it is one of those things where in life, these are the opportunities that don't come by often, and if you miss it, it's a very high likelihood that um that it won't come by again, and then you won't be able to have it forever. I guess using one of our close friend Mary's, who you'll probably hear more about later on in this in this podcast. Uh, Her analogy was we were on a trip in America, and then she wanted to get some souvenir. I think it was like chips for her family, and she's like, "Look, I'm gonna get it at this gas station, um, or else, who knows what's gonna happen next? I might never see it again." And sure as she flew off like 2 days after, and she never saw those chips again. And she is so glad that she got those. Very small example, but at the end of the day, it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So those are the opportunities that you do want to seize and take advantage of.
They must have been some very, very tasty chips. I could probably imagine. Um,
Yep.
yep, shout out to Mary. Um, thanks for the inspiration for this topic and at least this definition for a once in a lifetime opportunity. I think for me it is very similar. Like um, it's hard to say without using examples, right? This kind
Mm,
of event or opportunity, but for me it's like kind of being in a certain place or a certain time with a certain thing, or like a certain request, or you know something that doesn't, yeah, like in a different situation. You might not be in that place, you might not be at that time, that point in time to actually seize hold of that opportunity. So you kind of you're faced with like those almost split second decisions sometimes, maybe if you're lucky a bit longer, but these decisions can literally make or break the future of your life. They can be life changing depending on whatever happens. But in a sense, think about it, all decisions are life changing because um, you know uh, it is hard to define. But I hope that as we go through this podcast, we talk through some examples and just things that maybe help you, the listener, understand or sort of be aware of opportunities that are positive once in a lifetime opportunities, of course. Um, yeah, because there are negative ones, and
Hmm. I
um,
guess a lot of people might think, oh, this is just like a YOLO episode of the podcast. For anyone that's really old or maybe even really young, I don't know if kids still use the word YOLO anymore, but stands for you only live once. Um, what would you say to that, Dylan? Would you say it's a similar concept, or would you say it's a bit different?
they're interrelated. I wouldn't say mutually exclusive or like all one for one, but there's a lot of crossover between these things. Yeah, um, YOLO, I think sometimes can be used a bit like uh, nonchalantly. Sometimes, just like, oh, I'm gonna do this YOLO. I'm gonna like. There's like often like less sort of smart decisions or like more dumb decisions, like YOLO.
Mhm.
I just wrecked the economy. Oh well, YOLO. Or something like ridiculous. But yeah, once in a lifetime opportunities is slightly different. Um, I'd say it's more of the like adult lens to it because we are all adults, but it's the things that like we've all heard parents or teachers or whatever elderly figures we've had in life being like, oh, like the one thing I wish I did when I was your age was that I wish I did this, I wish I did that. I think these are the things that we want to talk about, the things that
Mm.
would have benefited us at a future stage in life if we took hold of that. And um, yeah, it's cross generational. YOLO
Mm.
is not. Boomers won't understand.
That is true. That is very well put. So I guess in summary, it's things that you decisions that you make that you will to minimize future regret, basically.
Yeah, yeah, um, exactly. Um, and regret's not a completely bad thing, but um, I'd say that most people, you know, would prefer to have less than more.
Hmm.
Um, you can't completely avoid it, but yeah. Anyways, I think one of the main things that we both had once in a lifetime opportunities for in the past is traveling opportunities or in a sense exchange and studying abroad, anything overseas related or even to like going within our countries. So yeah, Adam, can you think of any once in a lifetime opportunities you've personally had over the you know recent times or even current times?
Yeah. I guess if you've been a long time listener of the Chillin' with Dylan podcast, you know how big we are on exchange. In fact, was that our first topic that we talked about? I guess
One
it
of
was
it
also.
was the first group one. It was the first group with
Ah,
the crew. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That was it's a big topic. So I guess exchange is probably for both of us. You went on two exchanges, Dylan. So I guess
I did
technically
go
not a
to.
once, twice in a lifetime opportunity. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely one of those opportunities where you won't really get. So what exchanges in short is what we're talking about here is like during uni, you go to a partnered university somewhere else in the world to study there for 1 or 2 semesters and seeing what life is like over there, and you live as a student. Um, and I think that's quite a common once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people, and conversely, what a lot of people regret if they didn't go on it, because when else in your life are you going to have that much free time to go about and travel in and around the country that you're exchanged to,
yeah,
and where you have as much free time to really test out, see if you enjoy a country without fully committing to it, moving to it, like if you had work, for example.
yeah.
It's a very different environment and definitely one of those great life experiences that I guess you'll talk about for ages, as we are still
Yeah,
talking about it.
yeah.
I don't know, 6 years later. So,
I mean, I keep trying not to, but it just comes up. The fact that I think we hang out with many people who have shared similar experiences. Doesn't help. But that's, I ain't complaining. But I completely agree. Like, yeah, if we break it down, university as a whole, that only happens once, at least as a sort of young undergraduate student. And you can do 2 degrees, you can do another degree, you can do a master's when you're like, later on in life. But that stage of life doesn't occur twice. Um, so yeah, like within that, having the opportunity to do an exchange or study abroad and travel and experience a different culture and education system way of doing things is such a unique experience. So um, that's something I don't regret doing, despite doing two very expensive decisions. But like as I said before, even I think uh, doing multiple, you kind of sort of like by the second one, you're like, oh well, like that was a something that's already done. It's not, But if you somehow do have the like schedule, like you kind of have to look at it in two sort of independent ways. Like forget about what's happened in the past, like sort of, like it's almost like sunk costs and stuff, like, okay, whatever. But like at this point, there's an opportunity, there's the opportunity to do that or not do that. Um, Without that, like, would you still have the opportunity to go to this place? Um, so like for me, that second one was Italy, and if I said no, right, like although I'd still had one exchange, like um, which is true, the opportunity to like live in Italy would have passed. Um, that would not have happened realistically at any point in the future through work or whatever else, right? So um, yeah, like a lot of times we see opportunities related to other opportunities in the past that sometimes they are actually independent and sort
Mm.
of need to be evaluated on its own. So yeah, it's it's kind of cool thinking about it. When I think about this stuff, I like my brain just pictures multiverses of like alternate reality. Do you ever like think that, Adam? Like,
Yeah, what Dylan and Adam would be like if we didn't go on exchange. I think that's or like didn't go overseas or just stayed in New Zealand for that's
yeah,
crazy to think about.
no, yeah, like because you just can't imagine the alternate possibility of um like afterwards, right?
Hmm.
Um, what would have been happening if Adam had not moved to Australia? That's a
Oh,
like, yeah.
that is a big one. Well, I guess probably I would have stayed in New Zealand. Or maybe have thought to move somewhere else in the world.
Mm,
I don't know. There's so many different possibilities. Most likely stay in New Zealand, I'd say,
yeah,
because it's comfortable. But comparing, I think that possibility definitely came back to me when I came home to visit. Um, not too long ago, a few months back, and I was like, this is what life would have been like if I stayed at home, stayed in the zone of comfort.
yeah,
Um, and although it was really nice to go back and see family, I'm definitely very happy with my decision to move out and come to Australia and seek different opportunities and go really strive for the life that I want to have. So really
yeah.
grateful to have that.
No, it's good. And yeah, obviously, I think everyone's super proud that you obviously took the step, uh, took that responsibility upon yourself, just like anyone else has the opportunity to. Like, yeah, and made good decisions. Um, yeah, for the life that you want to live. I think for me, one of the best decisions I made outside of exchange was actually saying yes to one of the proposals you made to me, Adam. It was a proposal to join your trip to Japan and Korea. That
Oh,
was an international trip that literally had quite life-changing implications in a lot of different ways. Um, when I think of the like multiverse scenarios, it has sort of gone a different route. Um, not just because I ate lots of nice, delicious sushi, which I did, and ramen, and and all that. That was good. But because it sort of like introduced myself to a whole sort of new world of people and connections and like experiences that would otherwise not have happened. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, because that was the first time you met some of the other people that you would have heard of on this
Yeah,
podcast. It
some
was
of our amazing contributors to this podcast.
yeah,
You
like
know,
Irene,
Irene,
Yun,
Mary,
Mary. Yeah,
they
it's
were all they were all sort of additions to my life that I guess in an alternate universe saying no would have sort of closed that opportunity off probably for a lifetime. I doubt that the like sort of opportunity would come again in that context of like rocking up to stay at your guys' Airbnb
yeah,
without any
without
preparation.
knowing anyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
Making
good. I think you definitely made the trip a lot more. It was a lot more fun with you there as well, Dylan. It
thanks.
changed up the dynamic, and it was really good.
Hmm.
It was a lot of fun with the other people as well. But it's Dylan's always a great addition
Yeah,
to the squad.
yeah.
I guess if you didn't have that opportunity, we probably won't also have this future opportunity, right, Dylan?
I was just thinking the exact same thing, Adam. Like, really, it's pretty amazing that now we um have a trip booked to head to Canada where some of our friends live. Where amazingly and I think yeah, just an awesome opportunity to witness our friend Mary getting married at her wedding.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting, and we obviously send our biggest congratulations to you, Mary, if you're listening.
Hmm.
To go there and just to like have the experience is pretty crazy. Like yeah, um, are you excited, Adam?
I'm very very excited to spend this special day with Mary and celebrate with her and with the rest of the guys as well. I think
Yeah,
it'll be a really really fun trip. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where looking at it now, even though it hasn't happened, I am very grateful that it is happening.
yeah,
And it's for sure one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. I don't know when the next time I'll be going to Canada, but uh, but
yeah,
it's definitely grateful that we get the
yeah,
opportunity to go for
yeah.
a very good reason.
Yeah, and to go to a country for someone's wedding twice is very unlikely to happen.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's cool. Like our group hasn't been together for a couple of years since the pandemic started,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we've got some new additions to the squad, which is great.
Yeah.
Bringing with a few partners involved. Um,
Hmm.
you know, so yeah, no. Um, look forward to traveling with you guys once again, just resuming that part of our lives.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I guess outside of just I guess travel, fun
Yeah,
stuff, uh, there's obviously another big part of life is work, right? Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
takes up a lot of your time. Um, has there been any sort of work once in a lifetime opportunities for you, Dylan? Would you say?
Yeah, there's definitely been a couple, like, when I think of my career so far, um, I won't go into details. The other podcasts are for the details that we've done about careers and stuff. But like, I've had opportunities to work in different sectors and stuff I would have otherwise not had if I took different sort of routes and stuff. Um, I've really enjoyed my time working in the public sector in Wellington, New Zealand. Um, that's in a sense a bit of a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't think when that job came up, I was like, okay, like I need to try this. I need to see how it is. It wasn't necessarily something I was fully sure about, but it's always good to try that. And um, like, I don't think I would have otherwise had, yeah, the ability to work in a government agency. I had to move to Wellington to do that, and that was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So, really, really grateful for what I learnt over there. And then my current job, uh, like soon after I started, there was a pretty cool opportunity, like for a project where I didn't think that like it was really usual. Like it was quite an unusual one. I was like, oh, like will I get this opportunity again, at a different company or like in a different part of my career trajectory at this company? And I was like, no, I wouldn't. And it was just like a pretty cool video project where we basically made um, like sort of directed a video that promoted the use of plug-in electric vehicles that our company had purchased for our um, uh, workers. And so we did a Back to the Future theme for that, which was awesome. And that was really fun. When I started, I didn't have that much time put towards other things. I don't think that opportunity would come again. Um, but yeah, like it's like anything that's like a bit out of the ordinary. I've sort of noticed when they come and be like, "Oh, should I do it?" Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty important thing. Definitely, it's the why not. Why not go for it? Sometimes, and it's not just you saying why not. It's like YOLO, but actually thinking why not. And it's like there's not much to risk, not much to lose. Um, I guess similarly for me, in terms of work, probably the biggest once in a lifetime decision that I made was quitting my job at a fairly secure and safe position in the bank. You can, as Dylan said, refer back to the career podcast to listen more about it. But effectively, I felt my life was very comfortable, secure. I can see what my life would have been like 5 years, 10 years down the track, and although it was nice, it wasn't particularly what I wanted for my life. So I made the decision to quit my job after 3 years, set myself a hard deadline, and to move overseas with or without a job. A little bit reckless, probably should have planned a little bit more beforehand. But in saying so, it is still the best life decision, one of the best life decisions that I've made to date. It's taken me to Australia, and now I'm in a company in a sector which I really care about, and a sort of social enterprise, helping to transform the energy sector here in Australia. So really, really loving it. And even in my new job, I've had a lot of opportunities I'm really grateful for receiving. Um, I guess one small example is at a smaller startup, you need to sort of do everything. Um, but one of the opportunities is like we have this all hands meeting, which everyone in the company is a part of every single week. And I had the great opportunity to chair it, which is like being the facilitator, and that really gets your name out, and it sort of helps you work with a lot of other people around the organization. And I think it's a great opportunity. I was a bit iffy about it because public speaking can be scary, um, but it is something that I'm very grateful that I said yes to, and very much am enjoying so far. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, like I'm very like it's so cool to see how your career has progressed.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, like I mean, I know lots of people who've worked in the original industry that you're in, and I still do. But yeah, like it's pretty sort of um, as in like yeah, stable and it has a set route path as you go from graduate to whatever else, right?
Mm.
Um, but at the end of the day, like trying the new work that we've both done has opened us to like new ways of thinking and industries and types of people that we otherwise wouldn't have met, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine not knowing the things I did, like I do know now, if I didn't
Mm.
um, change things up a little bit. Um, because yeah, like sometimes I think like seeing some old colleagues and stuff, you can often you start talking about like the old work that you did and um like in different industries that you sort of start talking about is not quite within their repertoire of
Mm.
of like yeah like work to consider and all that. So yeah, like I'm glad I've just taken all the opportunities I could to learn more, because I'm really big on learning, and this is through work and outside of work as well.
Hmm.
Um, I think, yeah, I would encourage anyone, if opportunities do come up, think about what you want to know. Um, if you're really happy with like a certain area, and extending that for a long time, then I think it's something, if you know it's really good for you, then do it. But if not, like, um, yeah, like you don't have any reason not to, expand your horizons.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I guess outside of work as well, Dylan. There's obviously been some personal opportunity. Actually, before we get into that, I'm really curious because you mentioned before you said that your work life career would not have been the same if you didn't go into like the public sector. Can you
Yeah,
just expand that? Because I guess a lot of people haven't had that experience. So
yeah. I think it's like something. I like we both grew up in Auckland and like in New Zealand at least. It's a private sector heavy sort of, city. These are the types of jobs that we graduated, to maybe go into. Um, but like, um, yeah, majority of the jobs in the public sector based in Wellington, um, kind of require you to be around in the city, and it was just not something I ever seriously considered.
hmm.
Um, I think I thought about everything in the same way that, most other people did. Um, the options were like, for the, let's be honest here, everyone wanted to work in a big four company. Everyone
Yeah,
wanted to work.
consulting firm or like.
Yeah, just the same. So yeah, just the same that Deloitte, whatever. Shout out
Hmm.
to EY. Thanks for the internship. Loved it. But anyways, yeah, like I think it was like the same, like a set of things. But so like for me, I never really seriously considered anything outside. But then because of a random coincidence, like the way I searched jobs one evening and found it and decided to spontaneously send an application in, for my public sector job, which had a cool job description at the time, I thought. It just led me to Wellington, which I was like, as I went through the interviews, I was like, okay, like they're kind of cool, it's a nice team, seems like interesting work. I didn't seriously consider this before, but now I'm going to actually seriously have to consider actually living in Wellington. Can I imagine that for my life? Will I live in Wellington ever again if I don't? No, will I ever experience this other side of New Zealand if I didn't take up this job offer? And I was like, no, probably not, right? If not, I would not end up, trying a new city out. And yeah, like safe to say, it's been a good time over here. I've learnt a lot. I've learnt how to not be a Jaffa, not to be. Uh, yeah, like I learnt how other people in New Zealand operate, which is a surprise. Honestly, I did not think people could be different from Aucklanders, which is a bigger city in New Zealand for those outside the country.
What the other 3.5 million people do in New Zealand besides
Yeah,
outside of
yeah.
Auckland.
I just thought, like I think, people outside New Zealand think we all farm sheep and stuff, and maybe that's my secret assumption as well. But it's not true, surprisingly.
Wow, shocker.
Bit of a roast. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
I did not. I think I mentioned in the other episode. I did not expect certain things. Learned that other places in the country still operate, trains with paper tickets. You guys were
Oh,
quite
yeah.
shocked in the Sydney versus Melbourne
That
podcast
is
episode.
shocking.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, little things that you would not otherwise not know.
Hmm.
And I'm happy that taking up some once in a lifetime opportunities, which I didn't really use that framework to think about at the time. Um, was just it's been good to have
Hmm.
that life experience.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of life experience, Dylan, what
yeah.
what are some of the other, I guess, in your once in a lifetime opportunities in your personal life?
Um, this is looking at some of the things I wrote down. there's a few areas think like sometimes it's something that we all love, food, and we need. Like sometimes you don't get opportunities to try different things at a certain restaurant or whatever, a certain type of meat until you're in the area and you get faced with do you want to do it or not, and you just decide. So we've
That's
talked about
true.
that a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
um,
I guess just on that topic, a quick point. I think one really underrated or undermentioned cuisine type is Ethiopian food. Not many
oh,
people have
yep,
tried it.
I agree.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Heavily underrated, I reckon.
Make
Uh
that yeah, if it's your once in a lifetime opportunity, consider doubling or tripling. See.
yeah, try out a few other different things that you normally wouldn't. Um but yeah, I guess uh on this personal topic, maybe I'll kick us off and then
Yeah.
because I feel like you have a lot to talk about this though, obviously with
Uh yeah, no, there's I just need to structure any ideas, but you go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I guess for me, probably the most recent example that comes to mind of taking up an opportunity, um, or once in a lifetime opportunity, is when I first moved to Sydney. I tried out a whole bunch of different hobbies that I otherwise might have not
Mm,
done. Um, I think I did a bit of golf, I did a bit of surfing, I did a bit of rock climbing, running, boxing, like a whole bunch of everything, which I normally wouldn't get the
that's
chance to
so
do,
cool. Yeah.
which was really fun. And I've really enjoyed a lot of them, and there's definitely something cool about every one of those hobbies and activities. Um, Obviously, I'm not doing all of them now, but I think part of that invaluable once in a lifetime experience of moving to a new city and getting to redefine yourself, I think that's quite special. You probably found
Yes.
similar in Wellington. You have the opportunity to go outside of your comfort zone and outside of what you've constrained yourself to before. But no, you not only find things that you enjoy and that you keep up. For example, right now I really enjoy running. Boxing is also quite fun, and I guess once in a while golf is pretty fun as well, and definitely really enjoy rock climbing. You also find out about things that you don't like as much,
Yeah.
that you thought would be cool. Like for me personally, surfing doesn't really do it for me. Like drinking a lot of salt water. Maybe it's because I'm not very good at it,
I'm not gonna
but
lie. I did that once in Bondi Beach for
yeah.
myself, and I had a bad time. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes it's just not for you. But I'm glad I tried it anyway, and I know that it's not for me. But
Because because otherwise you'd live the rest of your life, many, many decades being like, "Oh, what if I tried, like, surfing when I was, like, in my 20s and stuff, now I'm old? It could've been amazing." But, like, instead of, like, wasting your time thinking, "Oh, like, what if I could've enjoyed surfing?" You've tried it when you're young,
yeah,
and you're like, "Well, I didn't like it," and then now that the rest of the time you can sort of, like it's almost like you can refer back to that file. You can refer back to the note that you made. Like, oh, I don't like that. That ship has sailed, right?
yeah,
Even if
exactly.
things don't go off perfectly, it's something you can just say, "Yep, I tried that."
Yeah,
Um,
it saves you from thinking of the what ifs, and it doesn't always have to be good experiences. It's at least
yeah,
now you know.
it's so good. I did not take you for a rock climber or surfer when I knew you from Auckland, Adam. See, that's the thing. Like, and I think the other thing was like a lot of the times, like, if being in a different environment, people from whoever knew you back from high school or something like, oh, I didn't know you know, you were interested in that, and like you are like in a sense uh, able to sort of push to the boundaries of who you are as a person.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like I think my high school friends were like, "Oh, I didn't know you were like a international traveler, Dylan. You never went anywhere when you were in school." I was at a boarding school, by the way. Like, so all
Yeah,
we
kind of
saw was
hard to
like
go anywhere there.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you just studied all the time, like, and
Yeah.
like you didn't leave your room. It's the stuff like that that you get to do at a certain point later
Mm,
on. Yeah.
yeah. I I guess some of them were like, I didn't know that you started a podcast, Dylan.
Well, actually, if anyone has heard that and you're like, I didn't know Dylan was a podcaster, well, I think the point is that if you weren't once, that doesn't matter if you do at a later point. Um, podcasting at the moment, obviously that was, I think that like started off as a sort of bit of a joke, but it became a once in a lifetime opportunity to bring together a whole bunch of good friends and just good people with a lot of good things to say, and create this amazing thing called Chillin' with Dylan, wouldn't you say?
Hmm.
It's been such a rewarding thing.
Yeah, for 1 year so far, and hopefully many more years to go in the future.
1 year and counting. Happy anniversary to all y'all Chillin' with Dylan listeners that were there from day one. We appreciate you. Um, and we've got some exciting things lined up for you, to say the
Yeah,
least.
and appreciate the new listeners as well.
Yeah, yeah, actually.
Maybe some of you, Dylan was saying there's a few listeners from Mexico. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. I hope if you're listening from Mexico, hola and bienvenidos. I hope I said that right. Anyways, yeah, um, like I guess, um, yeah, just happy that, like, sometimes we forget we're quite lucky, we're quite fortunate and privileged to have many opportunities. Not everyone does in the world. Um, but yeah, we do hope anyone that maybe lacks some, that you maybe can get the some great opportunities in the future. Um, yeah, I think, for me, I didn't become a hard out hobby sort of enthusiast after moving. I just sort of did, um, reevaluated and did a few other things, but yeah, podcasting was one of them. Um, and I'd say running. I wouldn't have become a runner if I was in Auckland. You never saw me running, right? Right, Adam? You never
Never.
saw me running at all. I
We
never
should
talked
run
about it.
together. I think it'll be fun.
Oh,
Oh, maybe another podcast
yo,
topic
yo.
idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like when you have a bit more free time in a different environment or something, and you're like, oh,
Mm.
like, what should I do with my life? Oh, I'll try that. I thought I wasn't that good at running, and then I did a half marathon last couple months ago, and I was like, yeah, that didn't go out too badly.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, we'll do a half marathon together at one point, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Let's aim for that. Love it.
Yeah. Uh, amazing, amazing stuff. Um, cool. Well, outside of that, like, there's sometimes events that maybe are constituted as once in a lifetime events. Yeah. Is there any kind of sort of point in time or things happening that you thought you were able to experience, Adam?
I think it's it's hard to say. There's, I guess, a lot of events that you can go back to, but some of the more memorable events that really stood out to me, um, and this is thanks to our exchange friend Irene, who sort of introduced this uh, habit into me, is whenever we go visit a new country, I always try to go see a live sports match
Yeah.
or like some sort of live show or something, and I think that is just absolutely amazing. You see a culture being in a stadium, being with the locals,
Yeah.
watching these performances. That those are always very special, almost once in a lifetime opportunities that you never get. Or I guess they are once in a lifetime opportunities because those will all be your first times. Like for example, watching a softball game in Japan. I've never watched softball before, and like frankly, don't really have too much interest in the sport. But that experience of going into the stadium was really fun, or watching like Mexican wrestling when we were in Mexico. That was
That
phenomenal. So
sounds pretty
a
cool.
shout out to Irene for those inspos. What
Yep.
about you, Dylan?
No, there's quite a few things. I think sporting events has been quite big for me as well. Um, yeah, like, I'm quite into my sports and I follow quite a lot of different things, and there's still things I wouldn't mind checking out. Um, but I just remember one time, this was like shortly after my exchange in Europe and Italy. Me and a friend, we're traveling through Spain, for a bit, and we ended up in Barcelona for a few days. And then I was like, oh, like, what do we do? Like, we didn't really plan too much and did the usual sightseeing stuff. But at one point, I checked, like, I just had a thought. I was like, oh, like, what's happening? Is there any sports events on? And then there was like a Barcelona game, football match, and like in my brain, I thought, oh well, actually, like, I don't usually get the chance to do this, and look, it's happening on Saturday or whatever. Like, might as well look at the tickets, and they weren't too expensive. It was like 40 or 50 euros or dollars, something reasonable. And so me and my friend went, and it was so memorable to experience that. Like, I used to play a lot of FIFA on, like, like PlayStation and stuff, and to see that in real life was pretty awesome. I saw Leo Messi score a goal. He's a famous player, very famous. But yeah, you probably hear about that in one of the other podcasts I've done. But yeah, like stuff like that. I've seen a few All Blacks games, New Zealand rugby team in a couple of countries. Like, I remember I was in Chicago randomly, and I watched the All Blacks game against Ireland where they lost for the first time in like 100 years, which was pretty funny. Like, yeah, um, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's like when you are somewhere, like you're just visiting, let's say somewhere random. You're just visiting Singapore for the weekend. Oh look, it's their something some really big celebration. It's Chinese New Year, and you've never been to like some festival or something. You didn't know it was on. Like, oh, you might as well go. Like, when else are you going to be there for that event or that period?
Yeah,
That's sort of like that's how I think of it.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, those are pretty big events, and even if it's not like a finals or like a groundbreaking game, although that would be very memorable, especially if
Mm,
you're going to support your favorite team,
yeah,
it's just a really great experience. Yeah,
yeah. Um, and like I think if you're into your music, sometimes there's concerts that happen every so often. Maybe like say you have artists that you like that you know they're going to retire soon, and you're like, is that a once in a lifetime opportunity? Maybe, you know.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Exactly.
Yeah.
Has there been any really memorable concerts that you've been to?
I think. Did you go? We go Chainsmokers. Were you in
We
that?
did go
We did go
Chainsmokers.
Chainsmokers.
Yeah, that was pretty
That
fun.
that was crazy. That was great. It was because our friend was like just forcing us that time, but like I wouldn't have otherwise done that, like if I wasn't forced to. And um I enjoyed that. I wouldn't do it again, so it's a once in a lifetime experience, but
But it's good. Like you wouldn't have known what the hype was all about until you
exactly.
went. So,
Have we been to any other concerts together, Adam? Can you think
uh,
of any?
I feel like there has to be more, but nothing comes to mind at the moment.
Well, at the moment, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity to
Yeah,
to
that's true.
go concerting with Adam.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we've talked about a lot of really crazy once in a lifetime opportunities. Are there any other
Yeah.
crazy ones that maybe hasn't happened to you, Dylan, but like you've heard from other people?
Um. Like, I think there's definitely quite a lot. Um. I can't think of too many in my immediate circles. Um. I find it quite amusing. Um. Like, I think it's funny. Like, people always talk about it, but like the likes of people like Bill Gates and people like um, whoever else, like Steve Jobs, that like just quit college, the university, um, which like it's such a crazy pattern. But like, I was thinking, how did they frame that? Like, could they have done more courses and still had the opportunities to begin and found and start the companies they did, or was there like certain business factors or technological factors that maybe have caused them to just throw in the towel per se on the formal education stuff, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go for this. This is an opportunity. If I wait another 2 or 3 years to finish off my degree at Stanford or some other degree, maybe if like Bill Gates didn't do that, some other person would have made Microsoft. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I think. Like, that's not necessarily anyone I know personally, but I wonder what happens in their minds when at those periods, way back
Mm,
in time.
those real big life changing
Yeah,
periods. It's when you're at a crossroad and you can
the
choose to go
crossroads.
full time
Yeah,
on
yeah.
something that you're really passionate about, something you really believe in, versus
Mm,
just staying the safe course.
yeah.
Yeah,
We've lost the opportunity to become college dropouts, Adam. That
unfortunately.
I don't have any regrets on that though. I enjoyed my time at uni.
Yeah, same here. I don't think I really made any regrettable decisions there.
There's too much. I know some other people who've done that at our university.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah. Um, so
I
I
guess
look forward to
university
seeing.
is always something that you can always go back to as well.
Yeah,
It's not as time restrained as people would think.
yeah.
But but
What
yeah,
about you? Um, anyone you know that's done a few crazy or
I do.
uh,
There's a
things?
few of the friends that I met on exchange. They have done pretty wild things, but I guess these are very carefully thought through decisions as well, and that they've definitely put uh, a lot of weight behind their decisions. So, for example, we have one friend from exchange who chose to quit a job, leave. She was originally from Canada, so she left Canada and worked in a social enterprise organization in Cambodia, which is crazy to think. I think she's doing quite well there. So really uprooted her whole life and decided to go chase something that she's really passionate about, and good on her.
She's
Um,
still doing it? Yeah,
I'm not. I think so. I think she's still in that
yeah,
space. She seems to
yeah.
be living life, so she's doing quite
Cool.
well.
Like,
Uh, there's
yeah.
also another couple of friends from exchange who actually met through exchange and now in a really strong relationship, or so it seems on
Aw.
social media. And they both moved from their homes cities into like New York and chasing that dream, which is really awesome. I think it's like they
That's so
seize the
cool.
opportunity to do
Yeah.
something a little bit outside of their comfort zone, and really go chase something that they really care about. I
Mm,
guess that's sort of the whole theme of today's podcast, right? Is just two main things. One, recognizing the state of your life that you're in right now. There's some unique opportunities that only come in certain parts of your life, and that if you miss it, it probably won't happen again. So being aware of those, and when those opportunities do come up, um, I guess we urge you to really carefully think about them and consider them,
mm,
and think about why shouldn't I do this? Why not? And just go for it. A lot of the
yeah.
times.
Yeah. Sometimes there's not too much time to decide, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, and that's unfortunate. You'd sometimes ideally have all the time to analyze all the possibilities of like taking up this once in a lifetime opportunity, or even deciding whether it is a once in a lifetime opportunity or if it's an opportunity that might pass again, or if you're interested in that opportunity. You might be not interested in this once in a lifetime opportunity. You're happy to let it pass. But for those that do come once in a lifetime, those opportunities, and those that you are genuinely interested in deep down. Um, yeah, I would say in times where there's uncertainty and maybe not much time to decide, go with your gut always. That's always like the best um, way of you know um, going forward, which I found has helped me out so much having that general mentality uh, over the course of my life. And yep. Adam probably wouldn't want me to keep talking about things. I'm like, this was a once in a lifetime decision. This was a once in a lifetime opportunity because I could probably go on, and this podcast isn't long enough for that. But yeah, we've always got our time in Canada to keep this train of thought on with everyone else in our friend group, eh?
Hmm. Hey,
Yeah.
that was quite Canadian. Very fitting.
You've heard it here first, and you've heard it here last.
Yeah.
Canadian. Yeah. Are there any other pieces of advice you'd have, Adam? Otherwise, maybe
Yeah, no,
we
I think that's it. I guess don't try to say yes to things more, but don't just do it for YOLO. Think about it, and I guess a good
yeah.
question is always why not.
Mm, True. I'd say YOLO is when you say yes without thinking whether it's for you.
Hmm.
Taking up a once in a lifetime opportunity is when you say yes, having considered who you are and what you want out of life.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of a decent sort of compare and contrast between the two. Going back to the original question, going full circle to what you asked me at the start.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, um, I do have, yeah, like a bit of concluding advice. Um, I remember, yeah, like starting this podcast was a bit like crazy, bit of a random idea. Um, there's a bit like of fear always involved in these kinds of once in a lifetime opportunities. Um, but I think, yeah, like there's also a part of you that's just unsure of certainty, and I would say that's like when you're a bit scared. Um, but yeah, like embrace that. I'd say if you have things that excite you, but you are scared, because being scared, I think, is a good thing. Being overly fearful, maybe not, because I think I define fear as that feeling when you sort of um, consider too many things that don't have evidence of happening and that hold you back in paralysis. So yeah, like just take that leap of whatever faith that you might encounter in your life. Because yeah, we we're not getting any younger, Adam, aren't we?
That we are not. I guess we're getting a bit older. Getting
Yeah,
closer and closer to the 30s, which
yeah,
is
yeah. And
scary.
yeah, no, we really are. So it's scary but exciting times ahead. And yeah, we're just happy as the listeners of Chilling with Dylan. You guys are here with us on the ride. Um, it's been a great year, and I think the last thing I suggest you guys, the listeners, to do, and this is explicitly a once in a lifetime opportunity. Um, I would encourage you to send in a voice message to Chillin' with Dylan. If you're someone that's been a listener for a while, you've been enjoying the podcast, but maybe I don't or we don't personally know you yet, we'd love to know who you are and get to know your life and your world and what your perspectives are and any ideas and thoughts or anything that you want to say to us. So in this episode description, we'll drop a link. You can click on it and send in a voice message, and we'd love to get in touch and know who you are. Take up this once in a lifetime opportunity if you want, but if you don't, that's okay. Who knows whether it'll come again. And with that, we'll just finish off and just thank you again, Adam. That was a great podcast. Really enjoyed
Thank you.
that every time. It's been good.
Same here. Same here. Always a pleasure, Dylan. And congratulations again on 1 year. And shout out to all the fans, old and new.
Yep, all the fans. We love you a lot. Okay, you've listened to another episode of Chillin' with
Dylan!
Woo!